a lovely day off today and I didn't do a stitch of work, which is actually how it's supposed to be. So I'm going to celebrate that and not think of it as a failure. Instead, I went to Dimmicks, which was very irresponsible of me. I've been reading children's literature to go to sleep, and I just thought, well, what about some older stories, some classic fairy tales, except actually about fairies and elves and goblins. So these are stories that are, I guess, like, how do you say when stories are told? Oral history stories. So they're passed down through storytelling, through the actual telling of stories. And they're from Wales and Ireland and Scotland, and they've been collated by a professor who's a researcher of Celtic mythology. And I just thought, I don't know a lot of fairy stories that haven't been processed to me, not through film or other media. So I just wanted to read some classic fairy stories about, I don't know, like impish elves, and the elves and the goblins and the fairies in the Celtic tradition are not, they're not the ones that are out there in sort of like the modern idea of fairies. They're actually a little bit nastier and a little bit more mysterious. So I'm really gonna enjoy reading this before going to sleep. Well, it's Tuesday. Again, here we are again. I've had a really great day so far. I had a really lovely day off yesterday. I did not a stitch of work, which was not my intention, but actually was very lovely in its own little way. I saw Charles, Xander and Paul. We went up to Northcote and had some Vietnamese. It was just so great to talk to some people who had come to Melbourne for PAX, which is like the games convention. Paul is like a game designer. Charles and Xander are partners, and I went to university with these guys. And we did like a comedy show for like 5 years running. So Paul taught me how to produce, because he was a producer like a couple of, is that right? Maybe he wasn't, I'm not sure. He was one of the elders, let's put it that way, the wisdom holders of the society. So even if, I can't remember if he was or wasn't a producer, but he might as well have been. And he was one of the great writers of the comedy stuff. And now he's designing games, which is amazing. That's right, he was producing games and now he's designing games. So that was really great to catch up with them. And then oh, it's a big truck going past. I always worry that they're going to make a lot of noise and ruin the video, but they never seem to. But yeah, what did I do then? I then watched Derry Girls, which I really, really enjoyed. I also went books shopping, so I bought a really lovely little volume on like Celtic fairy tales, because I didn't really know anything about them. So I thought, oh, that'd be nice. They're nice and short little stories that are sweet and interesting, and they have these beautiful illustrations. So that's what I'm reading at the moment. And then I made dinner for the week, had a chat to James, and that was the day done. You know, when you wake up at 10:30, it's not much of a day. It all disappears very quickly. And then today, I woke up and started teaching Ryan more show calling for the prompt copy, which was great. He's doing so well, you know, starting with like no formal training, and you know, he's come into this from being a cop. So his skill set is very different to a lot of people who come up through the regular like apprenticeship or training ways of understanding stage management. But he has all the skills that are required to call a show, and truly, you don't really need to be able to read music. You don't really need to go to university for 3 years. Sometimes it helps, but also you can teach people these skills. It's absolutely teachable. So we had a really lovely morning of just slowly going through things, explaining how music works and like how to notate things to make it easier to understand. Like, where are my pickup points? Where am I looking? When do I start counting? Where do I say the prefix? And just really like going over some things very thoroughly. So that was honestly just lovely, because it doesn't require a lot of brain space from me. So it was a nice job. And now I am going into work just a little bit earlier, because I enjoy not rushing, and last week I felt like I was always getting to work by the skin of my teeth, and I did not enjoy that. So I'm taking more time I got up earlier today, which is also something I really want to do this week. I got up half an hour earlier than I usually do, and therefore I had time to like have a more leisurely shower, and now instead of sprinting to work, I can actually walk to work and look at things and think about things. And I just feel like that's like a gift to myself that I want to do more of. We're doing the last standby run today. Not the last of the whole show, but like we're getting there. We've got like one more arc to complete, and then everybody will have trained up at least once everything they need to know for the covers. But today we are once again one stage management person down, so I've had to redistribute all the master moves, which took a lot of time and effort, and it makes me nervous because I've only been doing these moves for like ever since I took over this, and I don't have amazing understanding of the deck plots because I haven't really done them. So I distribute these things and then I hope to God that I got it right, because usually, like ideally, you would distribute these moves and then you work slowly through the show and everybody practices the moves, and then when we get to the run, we are there to support the cast. But instead, what seems to happen is that we get to this run, or we get to like running sections, and we're just guessing. We're hoping that the distribution is going to work and that people remember everything. But I think as a team we're okay. We've never not managed it, but it makes it stressful for the crew because you're like, oh God, you know, out of the seats that I now have to set, which ones do people sit in? I can't quite remember, and the pace is too quick to deal with that. So we're just doing our best. It's all we can really do. And then on Thursday, we're going to run everything with lights, and Alex is going to call that, which is going to be good for her. What else is happening this week? Double show Wednesday. I have to do some schedules. I was planning to do them yesterday and I didn't, so I might have to do them tonight, but it's a 3 to 7 p.m. rehearsal, and then by the time you've had dinner, it's 8:30, and then really you need to wind down. It's so rare to have like a Tuesday. But I have to do it, because if I don't, then I'm going to get caught out where I don't necessarily have time to write an extra set of schedules in the week as it stands at the moment. But yeah, that's what's going on. There are so many people in the city, I can't deal. It's because I never walk at this time. I usually walk around at 10 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock at night. And everybody's out for lunch, as they should be, because they're normal workers, and 1:30 is lunchtime. But I'm not used to it. I'm used to just like walking through Chinatown and Little Bourke Street and nobody getting in my way. I can't even. Anyway, I'm at the theatre very shortly. A thing I'd like to do is actually start doing some sit down videos. Everything so far has been vlogging, like literally walk and talk, because I don't have a lot of time to put my thoughts together and make a coherent video. But I do think that the experience I've been through recently would be a valuable video of reflection, which is, what does it feel like to go in thinking that you deserve this level of job? Because, I don't know, you have a weird idea of how qualified you have to be to do things. And actually, what happens when you like just jump up levels, and how does that affect you, and what does that feel like, and what do you learn by doing that? What are the benefits of that opportunity? So I do want to do that. I also want to make a sit down video about how to teach someone to call, because there are things there that I have learned which are very valuable. So I would like to do a sit down video about that, and also like a little bit of reflection on the experience in Melbourne. It's been lovely. There are sad things about being away from home, but in a way I'm very grateful that I had all this difficulty and struggle when I had time to be selfish. You know, when you are in your home city, there are things that you have to do and responsibilities and obligations that you don't really need as much when you're on tour. They literally buy your life. So that's an interesting thing to reflect on. Here's another thing. I went to the optometrist because my eyes were really, really sore at the end of last week. And I thought, oh my God, maybe I'm going blind and I need glasses. Turns out I have 20/20 vision. So I've got glasses that like magnify slightly to ease the strain on my eyes. But basically the optometrist was like, hey, don't look at your screen so much and make sure you're practicing short to long distance focusing to relax your eyes and put some eye drops in because they're getting sore. So a little bit of self-care with the eyes, but it's great because she tested the glasses that I had, which I think were like the smallest. I have the smallest astigmatism in my left eye of all time that's like so small it barely matters. So I already had glasses that addressed that. But she's like, yeah, just wear those and don't work so hard. And I was like, ha, yeah, okay, sure lady. But she has a point. So that was a good discovery from yesterday as well. Because I don't know if I have time to pick out glasses. I'll probably just pick the first ones I see and then I'll hate them. But at least I don't have to do that. Hooray! Perfect vision, huh? Good job, me. Come From Away, a big bear hug of a musical. Worldwide winner. Look at our lovely cast. The beautiful front doors. A hit and a masterpiece, joyous, uplifting, and plenty of humour. There they are.